Another week, another Tides of War unlock for us to get. This time around, we're continuing a few good soldiers for a second week in a row, but the challenges have changed and the end prize has changed. We've got a brand new assault semi-auto rifle, the MAS 44. This is a French rifle kept secret from the invading German army during World War II, and only a very few models actually survived the war. Afterwards, it finally entered mass production. But before you can use it, in Battlefield 5, you of course need to unlock it. This week's set of challenges revolves around Squad Conquest again, the limited time game mode currently running, and you'll need to complete at least 5 different challenges through the tree to unlock the rifle. Here is the tree for this week, and let's be honest, the challenges aren't all that difficult, but again, you want to unlock the new weapons, so it's kind of okay that it's easy to unlock. To start things off, simply play 3 matches of Squad Conquest. This was the same as the first challenge last week. Since other challenges this week ask you to do things within the Squad Conquest game mode, it's worth sticking around after those 3 matches, and you can carry on from there. An off-branch of this, a totally optional challenge, is called Widow Cleaner. You need to squad wipe an entire enemy squad. The tree now splits up in 2 different directions. We have a top branch and a bottom branch for you to choose from. The top branch asks you to complete Death Dealer and Scorer. Death Dealer needs you to get 15 kills on enemies in objective areas, and Scorer asks you to net 5,000 score in Squad Conquest. The bottom branch asks you to complete Untouchable and Steady Aim. Untouchable requires you to get 2 kills without taking any damage, and Steady Aim wants you to net 8 headshots in 1 round. Of the 2 branches, I'd say the top one is going to be easier, since it really doesn't ask you to do that much. 15 kills on objectives and continue playing the Squad Conquest game mode to get 5,000 score. The bottom branch starts off easy, just 2 kills without taking damage, but it gets harder, 8 headshots in 1 round. With Squad Conquest being 8v8, the chances of you being able to secure 8 headshots will be a little bit slimmer than you playing some of the other larger game modes, but if you choose to play Recon and use a bolt-action rifle, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. But because you need to do it in 1 round, you will need to be looking for those headshots. Next, the tree comes to a crossover point, so if you completed either the top or bottom branches beforehand, you now have a chance to do something different. The top option is called Max Capture, asking you to capture 8 objectives, and the bottom option is Life Capture, capture 2 objectives in 1 life. Both are fairly simple. I went for the Life Capture. Totally honest with you, I capped the home flag and then the middle flag in Squad Conquest in a matter of seconds, and unlocked this very, very quickly at the start of a round. And finally, the tree comes back to a single challenge called Deployed. Here, you or your squad leader needs to call in 10 supply canisters using the reinforcement system. I grabbed squad leader during a round of Conquest and started using the requisition points we collected to call in supply canisters at different flags. There is a 30-second or so cooldown in between call-ins of these canisters, so make sure you are aware of that, but they only cost 2,450 requisition points each, so it shouldn't take you too long to complete it. Thankfully, you don't have to do it all in 1 round, so if you don't manage to call enough in, you can split it up and gain the points in another round and call in some more canisters there if you need to. Once you've completed one of the paths, of course, the MAS 44 is yours. As you can see from the tree image on the screen, I've managed to complete all of the challenges already, and it took me a little over an hour to unlock the new weapon. So, now you've got the MAS 44, is it actually any good? Well, in my limited time with it so far, I'd say it's a good addition to your assault lineup, but I'd be questioning whether it's good enough to replace your current go-to semi-auto rifle. I'm a man who likes to run with the Gewehr 43 and the Selbstlade 1916, and the MAS 44 doesn't kind of match those semi-auto rifles. It plays quite differently. In my opinion, it blurs the lines between those heavier rifles and rifles like the M1A1 carbine and the Turner SMLE. I think it's a weapon that some people will like and other people will not like it so much. Looking at the specialization tree, the MAS-44 has two distinct use cases that can be bolstered by picking the right options here. There's a path built for increased accuracy, and a path built to take advantage of its fairly high rate of fire and turn it into a bit more of an aggressive attacker. Now, this is the path that I chose for my MAS-44, which crosses over at the bottom to take advantage of something that I prefer over the other side, but let's start at the top. On the left, you get quick aim, and on the right, you get barrel bedding. Barrel bedding gives you a sizable accuracy buff, whereas the quick aim option is going to reduce the time it takes for you to aim down sights. Because I prefer the slightly slower playstyle of the Gewehr 43, I took barrel bedding here so I could get a boost in accuracy. Level 2 gives you the option to switch over if you want to, but on the left we have enhanced grips, and on the right we have custom stock. Enhanced grips increases the hipfire accuracy of the weapon, whereas custom stock gives you another slight accuracy buff by improving your aimed fire whilst you're moving. If you're strafing out behind cover, this will give you a bit of an advantage. I took the right-hand option custom stock, and that brings us to level 3, where you cannot switch over. So I applied lightened stock. That now allows me to move 60% faster whilst aiming down the sights. That plays into that strafing scenario that I just mentioned. I now get more accuracy and the benefit of being able to get back behind cover faster if I need to. If you chose the left-hand side, you'd get detachable magazines, which changes the MAS-44's reload from through the receiver to using detachable box magazines, speeding up the reload time in general and being able to predict how long the reload is going to take with much more accuracy. With the reload through a receiver, the MAS-44 uses stripper clips of 5 rounds, and you've got a maximum of 10 rounds in the magazine. This means if you reload before or after 5 rounds are left in the magazine, you're going to have to reload some of those bullets one by one, and that takes a hell of a lot longer. If you're playing the longer accuracy game a slightly slower pace, then it's not so much of an issue. But if you're playing aggressive and rushing enemies, the detachable magazines are going to be really helpful for you. And finally, we come to level 4. This is where I switched over to the left-hand side and chose recoil buffer, which to me is something that the longer range, more accurate player is probably going to appreciate. Not having to deal with as much vertical recoil will be of benefit to you at mid-range as well as long range. The right-hand side, that's high-velocity bullets. It gives you a 10% increase in bullet velocity, so you don't have to lead targets as much when hitting those long-range shots. That is going to help the slower-paced, longer-range player, but I felt that recoil buffer was more helpful for me. The MAS-44's rate of fire means that you can kind of spam the fire button a little bit, and of course you're going to be hitting up the recoil a little bit more, so recoil buffer brings that down somewhat. In practice, the MAS-44 does feel very similar to the Turner's SMLE, which, if you're a fan of that gun, will likely translate to you being a fan of this one. I personally didn't find it anywhere near as punchy or solid enough to really want to use it much more than getting it up to rank 10. You can use it in the accuracy setup as I have, but the weapon is not really geared to that. I'd say it's definitely more of an aggressive rifle, which, as I say, if you like the Turner's SMLE or the AGM-42 as well, you're probably going to like this weapon. I'm used to weapons like the Gewehr 43 and the Selbstlade 1916, which, whilst firing much slower, do consistently land me 3-shot kills at mid to long range, and I've kind of just got used to that playstyle. The MAS-44 being a slightly lower max damage to balance out that rate of fire boost, that means at certain distances you're going to need more bullets to kill your enemy, and my muscle memory didn't really work very well with that, which is probably why I won't use this weapon all that much. It doesn't suit the playstyle that I like to go with semi-auto rifles. That said, if you are somebody who plays a lot more aggressively, then I think you will like the MAS-44. I'm going to stress the detachable magazine specialization at level 3 is arguably the most valuable of the lot, and if you are planning to play aggressively, having that equipped so you could be much more consistent with your reloads will be very helpful. So, there you are. That's the MAS 44 coming to Battlefield 5, and it joins the likes of the AGM-42 and the Turner's SMLE as fast-firing, aggressive semi-auto rifles. I kind of hope we see some not assault weapons over the next few weeks coming through the Tides of War. We have a lot of assault weapons now, and the medic class is really lacking in options. I'd love to see that get a few more. Let me know what you think of this weapon though down below in the comments section. Is it one you'll be using, or will you throw it to the side like I have and return to something else? Thanks very much for watching today. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications switched on so you don't miss any of my future videos. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.